What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Always Race Day podcast presented by the Carl Auto Group. We have been on hiatus. We will explain that. I'm Connor Ferguson here with Damon Helgevald. Did I get everything? I got to get into the ad first because we got to thank the Carl Auto
Got to get
Group
into the
for all of their continued support. We really appreciate them. If you're looking for a car, if you're looking for a new car, used car, whatever it may be, go down to the Carl Auto Group. Give them a follow. They're on Twitter at Carl Auto Group. Pretty simple tagline there, I guess. They're on Facebook too under the Carl Chevrolet banner, but fantastic people at the Carl Auto Group. Make sure you give them a look if you are looking or in the market for a new car. All right, let's get into it, Damon. We have both been insanely swamped, so sorry that we have not had a podcast up. I got super sick a couple weeks back, and this is my first day tonight on Monday, my first day with any sustainable internet connection since last Tuesday.
That sounds like a problem.
So yeah, 6 days without internet. I expect what's $70 divided by 30?
Like four?
Like $4 a day. Yeah, $24. I can buy an extremely not real hockey jersey from China for that.
Oh, I don't know. They're pretty real.
Yeah, I mean the material is real. It looks the part. I mean,
I've gotten a bunch of them from China that are stitched and everything, and they look great.
that's what I'm saying. I had a kid spill red fruit punch on a Ben Zobrist World Series MVP jersey I had at a party in college. Yeah, do not want to pay $180 for a jersey.
No.
Not that I would ever pay for the $20 ones from China, and those definitely aren't from there.
Right.
Allegedly.
Apparently.
I think we covered our bases.
So I've been told.
So I've been just swamped with dumb stuff that isn't important, and I could probably have worked around it. Lazy moment on me, maybe. But Damon has been coaching his bowling team to insane results, and that definitely doesn't go without hard work. And you can tell how much hard work Damon's putting into it based on his availability and everything like that. So I wanted to spare it, and after a couple days, it became evident that I wasn't going to have internet, and we just pushed everything back just to ease our sanity, I suppose. But we're going to cover all the big topics on this episode. And real quick, Damon, you guys were in first on Saturday. I saw you finish fourth. I'm not here to be the Debbie Downer.
Mm-hmm.
You had an individual champion again, right?
Yeah. Third time this year.
Same girl.
Same girl. Yep.
All right. So I've ordered the Chris Bryant t-shirt I'm going to send to her.
Okay.
Through you, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Third tournament win for her. In fact, she only finished 3 pins behind the guys champion, to put in perspective for you. So
breaking barriers.
Yeah, she damn near beat the entire place, which would have been pretty cool overall. But yeah, it was an interesting day. Started the day in first and ended the day in fourth. And as a coach, it's not what you want to see, but like I told them last night and tonight, it was a learning experience for us, because in the history of Columbia College bowling, which was 5 years prior to me, in the last 2 years, we've never been in first place ever.
After a day.
After one day. And so having a lead and being out front is a little bit different than always trying to chase. And so it was a learning experience for us, and we hopefully got better today, and tomorrow we'll continue to grow and clean up on some of the things that we missed on.
How was practice today? Because in my time in hockey, and still today, if we blow a big lead and come back to practice, it's not a fun one. Did you have them do suicides down the alleys? Is that a lot?
No, we didn't do that today. We had a small group today. So finals are next week. And so we got a lot of kids that are getting caught up on some class stuff and making sure their classes are all ready to go for finals stuff. So that's kind of my main priority right now, is making sure everybody's are ready to go for finals. So we had a smaller group today, but really it wasn't, because we didn't really bad. We just didn't get the breaks that we did on Saturday. Like I put in that post, the stuff that we did well on Saturday, we didn't do well on Sunday. And so, the things that went our way on Saturday didn't go our way on Sunday. And it just, like I told them, some days it's your day and today's not your day. And that's kind of what happened on Sunday. We basically in practice really kind of stressed the stuff that we missed on. A lot of missed spares, a lot of easy stuff, and definitely worked on some of the team game side. And we're going to do that for the next 6 days. Basically, we get the opportunity to do that.
And regardless, you stomped on the throat of Iowa State, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We did. They actually stayed in our hotel, so I kind of got a laugh out of that. I was sitting next to a couple of their kids down in the lobby when you sent me that on Saturday night. It was pretty good. But yeah, we definitely made Iowa State feel our wrath a little bit. But today's practice wasn't bad. We actually got a lot of good things out of it. We kind of talked about how do we go ahead, how do we go forward and not do what we did again, basically, is kind of the conversations that we had. And we had some really good conversation, and I think we'll continue to hopefully go in the right direction.
Well, obviously the goal of any team is to win a championship, but I think a good goal for us, for our fan group of the Columbia Cougars, is to get in the tournament this year. With your freshman phenom, do we need to start drumming? Sophomore. Okay. Well, same difference with the COVID year.
Yeah.
I don't think she gets that though, right?
No.
Is there any NIL deals that we need to start talking about?
I don't know. If you can drum something up, let me know though.
All right. Everybody go buy some Always Race Day shirts. And that is how
that's how we do it.
Lead you on a windy road to talk to you about Always Race Day shirts. If you want a shirt for a specific driver or moment, let us know. It doesn't cost us anything up front to put the shirt design on the site. It's only costs us once we make the shirts after they're ordered. So get with us on that. Let us know if you have anything. I'm not trying to say we're not creative enough to come up with shirt ideas, but if you'd want something like that, let us know. We can definitely work something out and get those shirt orders in before the holidays come. You can get anyone in your family a big late model suck t-shirt, and they can parade it around to every late model race around the country next year.
Dude, I hope somebody does that. Like,
We're doing it in Knoxville this year.
No, but I mean, like Marlins, man. You know how the Miami Marlins guy goes around to every baseball stadium and wears the same stuff all the time? Like, I want people to wear that shirt.
I think we'll have to pay somebody to do that.
Go to every massive late model race in the country and wear that shirt.
We're gonna have I got some connections. We're gonna have to pay somebody to do that, I think.
I don't think you have to. Marlins man doesn't get paid to do it.
We're gonna have to pressure Chris to go with him too.
Well, that's fine. Let him go with him.
I agree. Maybe we'll get on one of those flights.
I would take at least one of them. Like,
yeah, take a nice PJ out there. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, we're back now. All right, and guys, that is me operating on a hotspot still, because the internet is somewhat back. We have signal now on like Wi-Fi. Like before, like it was.
Let's not fool the folks here, Connor.
I'm trying to explain
the grid. You've moved off the grid. You've gotten rid of your internet. You're trying to get away from all sorts of social media, so you don't have to hear the wrath of anybody anymore.
I want to get away from. I want to get away from the dumb Cyhawk arguments on Twitter that vastly similar characteristics to the dirt racing fans complaining about the really small things that don't make a massive difference in anything that we see. So anyways, I don't think the connection should be that spotty. It's been really good today on the hotspot. It still actually is the
knock on wood. Knock on wood.
We're right there. All right, but let's get into some headlines from the past couple of weeks. I think the biggest one, for me at least, was the World of Outlaws schedule being released. 87 dates on the schedule. There's a question mark, actually, on the schedule at Eldora. That's the first point I want to bring up. Kings Royal Week is still scheduled for the same days, the Brad Doty on that Tuesday. And then the 2 days in the middle, so the Kings Royal is set to be a two-day format again. As you know, if you've paid attention to our podcast or Eldora, or you've made this observation yourself, it's pretty much a one-day format, especially if you rain out the Friday. But it's very much a one-show deal, aside from one car that ends up winning the first night. So the Kings Royal, back on the same day, same expected weekend. Those 2 days in the middle that were used for the historical big one last year, they have not been announced whatsoever of what is going on that day, or those 2 days, I suppose. I don't believe they are World of Outlaws sanctioned events. They're not listed as TBA on the World of Outlaws schedule where other races are. It seems here, and I'm throwing an educated guess, I do not have any inside information. If I did, I wouldn't be saying it like this. It seems like Flow Racing might have gotten the historical big one or might be putting on something different. Eldora did tease that it is going to be an unprecedented event in the history of sprint car racing. So I don't know what that means. I would say to make it unprecedented, you have to have a cool format that goes with it. But if it's going to be the same format, I feel as though it's not very unprecedented. But that's just throwing all my takes. I just gave you a take sphere, a take dice. You can roll it and you get any one of those 6 takes.
Is it unprecedented if they have a normal format but give like $1 million?
That's what I mean. Like, if it's that, like, yeah, that's very unprecedented, right? That's going to make more people come, hopefully. I thought the crowd at the Eldora Million last year for the late models was pretty good, and I'm not 1,000% sure what they're thinking about doing. $250,000 at the Houston Tie Bank Nationals is the richest prize in sprint car racing, right?
Right now, yeah.
I think historically too.
Is that what it's going to?
I feel like I'm missing like a one-off race they did like one time, but I don't think
Well, is that what they're going to? Is that what it's?
That's what they're moving to this year, I believe. It's 250 or 225. I think it's 250.
I think it's. I couldn't remember. I thought it was 250
because it's quarter. Yeah, it's 250. We're second guessing ourselves so much because we haven't talked to each other in person or on video in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, the chemistry's off between me and Damon. But we'll
fix it.
We'll get there.
We'll fix it.
Another part of the Outlaw schedule, they're not going to go on a West Coast trip in the spring. Instead, they're going to race in Pennsylvania and host a couple of season openers at a couple of different racetracks there. Damon, what do you think about that? I know a lot of people were ticked about it, and I hate seeing that part of the schedule go away. In my opinion, the top sprint car drivers in the country come from 3 different places, and it's Knoxville, Pennsylvania, and California. And for some reason, California gets left off that list.
Well, considering that you're defending champion and
Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, Carson Macedo,
you've bred a whole bunch from California. It's going to be weird too because that's early in the year, right? Those are early in the season.
Yeah, March Madness.
Right. So you're moving to Pennsylvania, the East Coast, where snow pops up at quite literally any time of the year, and weather is a big factor. Whereas on the West Coast, you're not having to deal with it as much. You still have to deal with weather, but not as severe or problematic that way. So you're asking for races to get canceled essentially.
And I hope that if any of the Outlaws were listening to the first part of that, they didn't cut it off right there. Because the counterpart is those races were being canceled last year because of fires and stuff like that. And it was no guarantee you were getting them in last year or any year before that in general either. The negative of it was they were hauling all the way from Florida to California. There was no regional in the middle. They did Cotton Bowl a little bit, and I can't remember if that was before Vegas or after they went to Vegas and where they went. in between, but it was very tough to get all of those races in February, and they've just wiped out everything but the Dirt Car Nationals. Everything from February is gone. They're staying at Volusia. The first 5 races of the year will be at Volusia Speedway Park. I wish they would throw in a different track in the middle, but again, like, it's just a logistical thing that you kind of have to deal with. And you know what? In dirt racing, you can race at the same track 5 times. You can see 5 different winners, depending on how the track acts that night, the weather, everything like that. So I don't hate any of the portion of the schedule. I could say I hate Bristol, and that's another conversation we're probably about to have. But I get the no trip out to the West Coast. They've had horrible luck with races being put on as highlighted on the schedule at the start of the year in February.
I mean, I guess I get it logistically speaking, but you're missing out on a big fan base, right? Like that, the fan base out that way, we see all the time. And I know it's because we follow it a little bit more, but I mean, they run that 360 series out there, right? That Dominic Selzy really dominates in.
Well, the NARC series is 410.
Right. And so they've got a lot of those fan bases up and down the state of California that's missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that's what I keep saying. I keep telling the California fans to be loud and obnoxious on social media, and maybe they will go to your tracks more.
Right.
It seems to be the formula. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somewhat of a joke there. Dude, I'm really getting every end of the make fun of someone stick. It's one of those episodes.
You have hit all 4 corners.
I'm glad. All right. The no Bristol part. So when we first talked about Bristol being on the schedule and stuff, I loved it because I love NASCAR at Bristol Dirt because it meant we got the World of Outlaws sprint cars and late models at Bristol Dirt. That was the part of the Bristol Dirt quote unquote experiment that I wanted to see. I still think it's super cool. I'm not necessarily saying NASCAR should be there every year. I don't hate the race whatsoever. It's one of my favorites on the schedule, will always be. But I wish that would come with having the Outlaws there. With XR isn't going back next year for the Bristol Dirt Nationals that they usually have.
Do you think that part of the reason that the Outlaws are not doing that is because they were given the information that Bristol Dirt was not going to happen on the Cup side or on the NASCAR side?
I don't know that for sure. I think we knew. I thought we knew earlier this year, like kind of 2022, Bristol Dirt.
But as you're building your schedule, I mean, as the Outlaws are building their schedule, they're not just doing it the day that they release it.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying I thought we knew during like NASCAR Bristol this year that it was going to be back. The Cup Series would be back.
Oh, I guess I don't remember that part. I knew,
and I could be misremembering that.
I knew that was last year. They said that last year at the Bristol Dirt race, but I don't remember about this year, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm not sure on that, and I'm not looking at the World of Outlaws balance sheet. I'm not looking at the racers balance sheet, but I do know that this year, and I keep mentioning things we're going to get to in like 5 minutes, but with the high limit series, and we'll say some stuff on that in a bit, with that coming up and this whole debate on whether the teams are going to stick with the World of Outlaws or whether every powered team is going to leave, which detrimentally would not be good for dirt racing, sprint car racing, nor the World of Outlaws, all 3 of them, right? With that coming in mind, this is a schedule that feels like it is very much, I don't want to say pandering, but it's marketing and leaning itself towards the drivers making money, the teams making money.
Which is the way it's supposed to be.
Right, absolutely. And I think they do a pretty bang up job taking care of their drivers with tow money and stuff like that, and the bonus programs they've had. They were, I'm getting so many. The word parading around just came to my head, and that was absolutely not what Brian Carter was doing. But he was proudly displaying the amounts that World of Outlaws teams made, and how many made over 500 grand this year just in race earnings and stuff like that. And it was very good numbers for a series. It was numbers you could be braggadocious about because they ended up being that good. I don't want to say he was doing it disrespectfully.
Let me ask a follow-up question though to that, right? So all these teams that travel on the circuit with the Outlaws, but they don't get the ability to go and race other things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So that's what this whole.
So with that, do you think, yes, that they are getting paid with the Outlaws, but do you think that they would like to do other things than be on the road every single night of the summer and be able to go race closer to home, closer to families, be able to hit big money races when they want to? Because let's be honest, not only does the Outlaws have their tour, but there's other big money races that happen throughout the year that the Outlaws don't necessarily line up with.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right there. Part of the reason the Outlaws race every Friday and Saturday night is because drivers a few years back, and this is from Brian Carter's Wing Nation interview. It's on YouTube. You can go watch it. I'll try to put the link in the description if I remember. Brian Carter said basically the racers wanted them to stop having so many midweek races so that they could race less and be less pressured to get to events and make money and everything that goes into it, right? But they wanted to essentially race less. Now that wasn't part of the platinum deal that kept racers from running other series. I don't think. I think that came up before, if I understand my history correct, and I might not, so tell me if I'm wrong. The thing is, Brian Carter sincerely believes that a Tuesday night race and a track that's close to a World of Outlaws facility that weekend, if you have the show on Tuesday with whatever drivers can come, and you have your Outlaws show Saturday, and maybe some of those guys are ASCOC guys, and they leave, and the car count for Tuesday ends up being bigger than Friday and Saturday, you're going to have fans that deviate from the World of Outlaws race to go to the high limit race, right? And
to me that sounds like a World of Outlaw problem, and you shouldn't penalize the teams for it, though.
I agree with you to an extent, and I'm just trying to lay out both sides for what the debate.
I guess
the drivers and team side is obvious to every fan because they just want to race. Right. It's the late model drivers thing.
It's so funny because we had a bowling coaches meeting on the NAIA side this morning, and we were having conversations pretty similar to what we're talking about right here about, we're, as a bowling congregation, we are underneath one major banner, all entities, NCAA, NAIA, club, JUCO, everybody's underneath one entity. And we're trying to do different things to eventually break away to help benefit our schools a little bit more. And so that relates to this because, you've got these drivers and teams that want to do their own thing, that want to go win and make their own money doing things other than just follow the same tour. So let me ask you this. Do fans, let's say, do 85% of your fans that show up to an outlaw race, do they go because it's the World of Outlaws, or do they go because it's Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet, and Logan Schuchart in the field? I
think they're one and the same, but I get your point.
If those same three drivers showed up at a different track with a different series on a different night, would the same amount of people still show up?
I think you're getting three of the Outlaws drivers, not the whole.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, well, it's funny you brought up Logan Schuchart since you dog him on this podcast all the time. That's your third biggest World of Outlaws brand, that Damon, is Logan. He's trying to backpedal in case we ever get Logan on here.
I'm not.
Logan's a busy person.
He's a bigger name in the
Yeah, well, that week that we're trying to get him on specifically, he was. Um, no, but I get what you're saying. They go to see the drivers. Some of them go on car count, which I will never, ever, ever understand. Don't bring that up to me. Don't bring up that 50 cars is better than 30, because it's not, if those 30 are better than the majority of the 50, right? You get what I mean? Um, but yeah, you're going to see the big name drivers and see who's there. And for me,
I mean,
that
yeah,
other
let's
15,
just throw this
hold on,
out.
just
Let's
wait.
just
I'm still with you. That other 15% of fans that would go to see the World of Outlaws might not know that Logan Schuchart, Brad Sweet, and David Gravel, because I forgot Donnie Schatz's name because I'm stupid. But they might not know those three are racing at this random racetrack on a random Tuesday night, because that's what the World of Outlaws brand is. And that's how detrimental figuring all of this out is to dirt racing, because the casual fan knows what the World of Outlaws are, and they couldn't even tell you what the top late model tour is. They're a casual fan. Think about that.
right, because they can tell you drivers.
Yes, and so the
The
whole
casual fan can tell you drivers.
right,
The
but so
casual fan can tell you who Donnie Schatz is.
right, but what I'm saying here is it's integral that the World of Outlaws figure out what needs to happen, and I'm not just putting the burden of doing that on them. Both sides got to work together, but it's critical that a deal gets done. And that's also why we haven't seen too many World of Outlaws announcements regarding teams and drivers for next season. Noah Gass is committed, as well as James McFadden in the Roth Motorsports 83 car next year. That's the only two we've had officially.
So I am going to put it on the Outlaws. And plain and simple, I'm not trying to sit here and argue one way or another, but I think if it, as a team owner or as somebody who would be a general manager of your race team and your race entities, logistically speaking, you would chase more money than try to follow a tour if it's going to be more beneficial to you as an individual team. Is I guess where I go with this. And so for the Outlaws, they've got to give up that stranglehold power basically to allow these teams. Maybe you put a number on it. Maybe you cap it. Maybe you put a number on it like they do with the Xfinity series and the Truck series when the Cup guys want to go down. But maybe you put a number on it and say you're allowed this many events outside of the Outlaws a year,
Right.
and do something along those lines where you still have a little bit of it, but you don't have complete control, and these teams can still go and win money elsewhere with these other series.
Yeah,
Because you're going to lose drivers flat out. You're going to lose drivers. Brad Sweet will go to his own tour.
Brad's talked about that too, because he's part promoter of the High Limit series, and he's talked about that at length. How do you sell a sponsor in Napa without being on a tour full time? And that gets hazy as well. It is weird like that. He's the promoter of the series. He can be at the track, but he can't race.
And as far as the sponsor goes, the late model guys seem to have no problem with it, though.
Yeah, and yeah, you're kind of right. They don't have wraps on the outside of their haulers to save money, because they don't have a tour, because they don't have as big of a branded national series. I understand Lucas exists, guys. I understand the World of Outlaws, everything. There's not one that's bigger than the other to the most casual of a racing fan, especially the guys that are watching and paying attention to NASCAR every week. The late model scene on a national scale is the two crown jewel races at Eldora, which turn into three, and we'll talk about that in a bit. This is the damn podcast of leading things on to the next damn topic before we even get there. What I'm trying to say here is it works on the late model side right now. We've seen it work. It needs to now work on the sprint car side. I think everyone could benefit from it. And the pros of that are going to outweigh, in my opinion, without having numbers in front of me, I believe the pros of that would outweigh the business the World of Outlaws might lose. In that situation, I know it would far outweigh the business that the World of Outlaws would lose if they don't find a way to figure this out.
Yeah.
Sorry to stutter through that. I was trying to be a little more careful with my words, but I know I don't do that often.
I just, I think for somebody who's listening to this, you've got to give out why both sides have to be, thoughtful in this whole deal. And I think, from a fan standpoint or and from a money standpoint on the team side of things, if you're a talented team, if you're the Donnie Schatz, the Logan Schuharts, the Brad Sweets of the world who have the top guys on your crew and you have the top teams and the top equipment, and you want to go race on a Wednesday night that pays out 22 grand and you're home and done on the road by 6 o'clock at night, but you can't do that, you're not helping grow dirt racing. I mean, we talk about this all the time on here. We talk about wanting to grow the sport, wanting to get more fans involved, not just in dirt racing, but in motorsports in general. But you're holding back some of your biggest names because they can't go run for 22 grand on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, that was well said. I can't think of anything else to say on that because that was as perfect as it gets, I think. Hopefully it happens. I know there has been some progress. I can't, what should I say, put that into scale or anything like that. I know there has been some talks, there's been some progress. PRI, if you don't know what that is, it's a big convention where a bunch of motorsports drivers, teams, owners, a lot of them go to it. It's in Indiana. And it's going on this weekend. I hate it because I don't think I'll ever get to a PRI in my life as long as their show is always the second week of December and the Cyhawk basketball games are always Wednesday and Thursday. Unless someone's going to private jet me from Iowa City or Ames on a Thursday to Indiana on Friday morning, it's going to be tough for me to ever get down there. Be cool. Would be really cool to be there. But we'll be around all weekend. We'll be keeping up, doing some updates on that. Maybe we'll do an emergency podcast or something like that. If big things end up breaking, we'll try to get on here as soon as we can. Last thing on the World of Outlaws schedule before we get going to other stuff, there will be 2 dates at Knoxville next season that aren't the Knoxville Nationals. So it's a weekend in April, a weekend in June for the annual Brownells Big Guns Bash, and then the second week of August with the Knoxville Nationals. So it's 8 total nights of racing, and I believe we're working on doing something where we can do, I don't want to call it what they call it, NASCAR race day.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do a kind of NASCAR race day style show on those Saturdays a couple of times at Knoxville next season. We're working on getting details and stuff put together so we can think about doing it, what it might cost us, what we want to turn it into, and what we want to do. So keep that in mind for those weekends next year. If you're looking at being at Knoxville or you're on the fence of going, late model nationals as well, I believe we're looking at. So I'll have more stuff on that as soon as we can get it. But I just wanted to put that out and warn you guys that we might be doing some fun stuff. So
Not us. We don't do fun stuff.
I will have like a maximum of 2 beers before the races, but I will drink with anyone afterwards who wants to. Just let me know.
We don't do fun things.
Totally serious podcast.
No fun.
Yeah. Oh man, there was a lot of Iowa State fans crapping on what's his name, Bill Walton, last week when they played in Portland. Oh my God.
Oh, dude, no, he was bad to listen to.
Oh, live a little bit, man. He's a funny dude. He's a ball of energy. He's a ball of sunshine.
Half. I lived for the first half, and I couldn't do it anymore. Old boy did not know who was leading the.
Well, it was tough. It did feel like Iowa State was winning. They were only down three.
Yeah, well,
3 or 4. I think it was 15-11, actually. All right. Some other stuff real quick. Extreme Non-Wing Outlaw Series is just done. The Outlaws venture into non-wing racing last 1 year. They had a lot of cancellations. They did not draw over the big names that I think they ultimately wanted to. I would say it probably wasn't. I would assume it wasn't a good business move if they pulled it that quickly. And they did kind of pull it quietly. But the Extreme Outlaw Series is now just the midget tour for next season. I know they're coming back. Tyler Rankin, I believe is his name, is going to be the series director for them next season. We'll see how it does. I know a lot of people talk about USAC and USAC's purses and stuff like that, but it's an interesting time. I didn't think we'd see it like that, but
think about when we went to Lake Ozark last year and it was their first ever event, right down there. And
I didn't even know it was their inaugural event. I knew it at the time. I forgot about that.
And there really wasn't a whole lot of cars there. I mean, for that event.
Yeah, it was CJ was there. Who won? Did Leary end up winning or Bacon?
It was.
Sorry to put you on
Leary. I think it was Leary that won. I think.
Yeah.
I remember.
Weird times. Maybe in the future they'll be back. Who knows? But they're not. They're done for now.
Right. I just don't think that the non-wing sprint car side of things is as big as what they were hoping it would be.
It is not.
Midgets are easy to operate as far as cost of operating, right?
In comparison, right?
Yeah, in comparison, right? Yeah, in comparison, they're just a lot easier to operate budget wise. And in today's day and age, when you're trying to travel down the road and save money to keep traveling down the road, what's the better option for you?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's tough. I know when I was like getting into dirt racing, I was shocked that some people say sprint cars don't have wings on them. Shocked.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that in my life. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's a wingless sprint car. It's in the name, right? So that's if you've ever wondered why I put the word non-wing anytime we write that, that's why. Clears up confusion, especially a lot of our fan base is from Knoxville, where sprint cars have wings. Maybe that's a shirt for us. There we go.
There you go. You see, you are creative.
Yeah. Well, it's effortless. We just want to do stuff that you guys want to see. I don't want to make a shirt that no one likes. Something like sprint cars suck. That'd be a stupid shirt to make.
I don't know. Somebody would buy it. I think the guy that lets us have the lights on might buy it.
That's fair. He might like it. Ricky Weiss might like that.
Also might like it.
Yeah. Someday we'll convince Bobby Pierce to test a sprint car.
Someday, I doubt it.
Someday. Bobby and I are going to play pond hockey this winter. We confirmed it yesterday.
There you go.
Couple tweets back and forth. We'll teach him how to skate, and then in return, we'll have him drive Ayrton's car, and maybe he won't wreck it.
Well, yeah. Boy, that seems like a lot of ifs going on in there.
Yeah, there's also a lot of weather favorability playing at specific times of the year.
Right.
But yeah, goal is to get it done by February, guys. All right, everyone, say a prayer, light some candles or something. All right, 2023 Lucas Oil late model schedule, World of Outlaws late model schedule all came out. The biggest thing on both of them, or concerning, I guess, in a combination of both of them, XR schedule included. The Lucas season finale, the Dirt Track World Championship that pays $100,000 to win, is moving to Eldora. So there is now 3 6-digit to win late model races being held at Eldora Speedway in 2023. Are we oversaturating the market there?
Oh, 100% you are oversaturating the market there. But on the same token, are you going to get
people will show up? People will show up.
People are going to show up. People are going to show up, but is anybody else footing the bill anywhere else?
Yeah, and I guess it's something we'll wait to see. Bodes well for the guys that like Eldora, probably doesn't for the people that don't like it, but it's a magical track for late models. I do like the aspect of Eldora being the late model track and Knoxville being the sprint car one. Maybe we could turn that into NASCAR coming every other year on a 2-year rotation or something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Rather than take races away from a racing fan rich state that is Iowa. But I'm still griping about that. Sorry.
Yeah, you are. Some things never change.
Yeah.
Haven't been on the show for a month, and some things have never changed.
I had to keep railing at it, and we'll go into it right now with our transition to the asphalt stuff. But the IndyCar race is coming back to Iowa, as we already knew. 4 concerts lined up. I know Ed Sheeran's one of them. Do you remember the other ones? Carrie Underwood,
Kenny Chesney, Carrie Underwood, and Zach Brown Band.
Okay, so here's what happened. I guess for people who didn't have tickets last year or didn't know, but to recap everything, last year's tickets, what they cost in the same seat this year, a large amount of them doubled. Large amount of them doubled in price for the whole weekend. It's the same. You buy one ticket, I believe it's for the whole weekend, and you get into all the concerts because they're directly before and after each race, right?
But some things you can't buy because you have to be on, or you have to have certain passes to be on the track.
Right, right.
Some tickets allow you in the stands.
Right. So that's that's a whole nother thing. There's a lot of people out there very ticked off at IndyCar, Iowa, Hy-Vee, whoever they want to be ticked off with. Is that you? You get in for free with me.
I am. I do, but if I'm a paying fan on this, I would be on the fan side of things.
Okay, now hold on here, because
I'm a man of the people.
I'm being a both sides guy right now, and you making me on the evil side every time is not helping me.
Well, be a man of the people, and you don't have that problem.
All right. Well, if we're going to parade around, I'd be hypocritical if I was going to parade around and tell everyone how great of a bargain the tickets last year were and not bring that up when we're talking about a ticket increase for this year. The stands were not completely sold out last year. It was the biggest crowd I've seen at Iowa Speedway in a decade, but the stands were not completely sold out. Mm-hmm. Had they been completely sold out, I think you could justify keeping the tickets the same or a smaller increase. I think overall you should have had a smaller increase, but I'm very frustrated that we talked about how much of a bargain the tickets were. And I understand they doubled it, and that is a large increase. That's like $200 a ticket for the more average or the mean of all the ticket prices, right? $200 in increase. That's a lot of money. I'm the first person to understand that. I don't make a lot, contrary to what you guys think. Maybe they don't think that. I don't think I put that out, but
Connor makes more money than everybody that's listening to this combined, just so you know.
No, I'm saying I don't think I'd give off that energy that I make a bunch of money. It would be better, yes, if they only raised them by 50%. I understand that. What they've done, they've done. I don't see them changing it. I think it'd be a whale of a curvy road to go into changing the ticket prices back. I don't know what all goes into that. Hold on, Damon. I'm still going to sit here.
I just have questions. I have questions. I don't have anything against. I just have questions.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
All right. I'm still going to sit here and tell you that will be one of the premier events, especially on our schedule, but on racing schedule in a grand scheme of things for the 2023 season. And if you can afford it, get down there. It's going to be fun. We want to do something fun down there as well. But it is going to be a very big event like it was last year. And I'm very, very excited to see it come back. And I hope that if you're on the fence about going, spend the money. If you can afford it, spend the money. You won't be disappointed in the entertainment you see at the race all weekend. And I can guarantee that for everyone of any age involved because of what we saw last year and all of this stuff going on. I don't think you could knock out an inaugural event better than they did last year. So you can get to your questions now. You're all good.
So my question, I guess, and you keep bringing it up, if you can afford it, if you can afford it. Well,
I don't want to tell people like, hey, the price went up, but screw your wallet.
Well, but that's what they're doing.
I understand that, but I'm not them.
So here's my question, I guess, for this is, if the place did not sell out last year, right? You had already mentioned that the place did not sell out. So if the place doesn't sell out last year, what makes you think that a price increase is going to be more beneficial than detrimental?
Now I couldn't tell you exactly what they're thinking. I'm not in the rooms. What that would lead me to guess is that they didn't make as much money as they wanted to make on it last year. I don't know if that's the case.
100% that's the case. Did you see the ads that were going around?
That's fair. Completely fair. I can also tell you that I don't think it costs that much money to digitally advertise.
It wasn't just digital though. Like
I know there was a lot.
My Hy-Vee that's right across the street here.
Yeah, all that stuff too.
Hy-Vee here had a whole bunch of stuff promoting the race that's 7 hours away.
Yes, and they've done a ton of that. They're doing it for the Indy 500. They're gonna have that car again full time next year. You know what? And this is probably the craziest thing to come out of it. And I was writing down my list, and I overlooked this, and I asked Damon before I got on, remind me if I miss anything. And I'm remembering it myself, and I would now elevate this to the biggest thing we're talking about today. Christian Lundgaard raced for Rahal Letterman Lanigan last year in the number 30 car. Breakout season. Kid did phenomenal for a rookie in IndyCar. Probably one of the best rookie years we've seen in a long time. He is moving to the Hy-Vee car. So if you don't know Hy-Vee and you don't know Jack, well, that's Christian now.
Right.
So a lot of people were the fan favorite was Jack Harvey, and I think he finished like 17th, or it might have been 22nd. I thought it was 17th. There's two numbers in my head.
Good.
17th or 22nd. Neither of them are very good in IndyCar. You need to be higher than that. And Jack was a fantastic guy to talk to. I saw him at multiple of the media things. I went to as many as I could because this event deserves that coverage, quite frankly. And also that it's, if they're like, hey, you want to come down and do interviews, and they're 30 minutes away, like it's shorter drive than Iowa State to talk to Bill Finley, right? Anyways, yeah, just they're switching him to the Hy-Vee car. Now, that tells you Hy-Vee wants results. Hy-Vee is changing stuff for next year, the way they go about this. So which of those is going to create more of a positive ROI? Will we see tickets back down the next year? Will they return to sponsor again? I know there's an agreement to race there. I've not heard if there is an agreement from Hy-Vee to keep sponsoring that.
I think it is.
That's never been confirmed. I just on the record,
sure?
I haven't seen that confirmed or reported by anyone. I think you could make an educated guess that that's the case with these moves. I think putting Christian Lundgaard in the Hy-Vee car is a big sign that Hy-Vee's in it for, and they've already been in it for the long haul.
Considering that there is their website is got a countdown for 228 days, 16 hours, 33 minutes, and 5 seconds for the tickets for the Hy-Vee IndyCar race
No,
weekend.
you're talking about next year. I'm talking about way down the road. Because they're under contract through 2025 to race there.
Right.
So I'm just saying Hy-Vee hasn't been confirmed as the sponsor that's going to put on the whole weekend for 24 or 25. And if they are, if you're from Hy-Vee and you want to tell me, I'd love that. We'll let everybody and their brother know. And thank you for doing so. If that's you listening, I don't think the CEO of Hy-Vee is listening to this, but that's all I meant by that. Is I don't know if Hy-Vee's 100%. I would think now you're leaning that they are with the changes we've seen them make in the past month, everything we just talked about. I would think that leans, oh yeah, we're going to be in it for years to come, and they've already been in it for 2. So at this point, I should stop saying I don't know if they're going to be in it for the long haul, because it is a little weird and shocking. Like I was tearing up at the concert last year, but seeing IndyCar being advertised at the grocery store I go to every day, like that's awesome to me. It's insane. I never thought I'd see any racing advertised at the grocery store I'm at every day. And now the entire summer, it's IndyCar time in the middle of Hy-Vee, and it's awesome. I bought a little semi-truck hauler that I got from a shelf. I'm not wowing Damon with any of this, I guess. That were you trying to find something on it?
Yeah, I was.
Any luck? I didn't.
No.
I didn't think I saw anything like that. And the only reason we got the confirmation through 2025 was announcement made at the track.
Right.
So, but nonetheless, it's going to be awesome. We'll be there to cover it again. That's sharpied in on the schedule in big gold letters, much like this week's Cyhawk basketball games.
You have a gold Sharpie?
Got a lot of different colors.
Sometimes that's what I took out of that.
Sometimes when I have a headache, I sniff them a little bit. It's fun.
That's a problem.
Don't do that, kids. Don't.
That's a problem.
This was satirical. All right. A couple of NASCAR headlines. This report comes from JSki, the Race Team Alliance. So as you know, the NASCAR teams got together, formed a group to better value themselves as brands, drivers, teams, everything like that within NASCAR. And that's what the RTA, the Race Team Alliance, is. This report says Race Team Alliance considering exhibition races. So, and I'll just read from it right here. It says the RTA is deepening its relationship with Wasserman to have the sports marketing agency look into the possibility of holding exhibition races, a potentially stunning development that suggests that NASCAR's biggest teams could organize their own events in the offseason. Wasserman, managing director of the United States, Will Pleasance, confirmed to, I guess this is a report on JSki from Sports Business Journal, but confirmed to them on Tuesday of when this came out, that's a week ago, I believe, that the agency has been hired to explore exhibition race opportunities, both domestically and internationally, via a request for information proposal, very exploratory. So what that tells me is that these teams are looking for other ways to earn revenue after the year, in the off season, right? It wouldn't include NASCAR, and I don't know how those contracts work. The charter thing, I believe, goes through 24, but I'm not 100% sure just where this will go or how serious it is or what it will bring. On the top of my head, I can't think of many things, especially like, are they racing NASCAR cars? You know, are they racing, is this IROC for the off season? You know, what is going on with this is all extremely preliminary. But I do know this has been kind of something that one of the things the Race Team Alliance was created to do. Not necessarily take races away from NASCAR, take the drivers and race them elsewhere, but figure out ways to maximize their own profits and what they do and the races they run. So I'm not sure
So
what we're going to get
can
from
I
them.
ask you this? Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Are you behind that?
Not necessarily. I would need to see any sort of specifics to make any left or right decision on that. Should I say up or down? That's less political. Yeah, any north or south decision.
I
I don't.
just wanted to
I don't
I
want
just
to
want to
go.
make sure you stood on the same footing with this conversation as you did with the previous one.
Well, I don't want to run halfway up the hill and slip on a rock and tumble down. I can't backpedal that fast.
I just want to make sure. Want to make sure.
All right. What are you comparing? Which one are you comparing?
I'm comparing the Outlaws one.
Okay. All right.
Just want to make sure that you're not,
In the
you're,
same in the same in the same way. In the same way. Are you going to is a casual fan going to go to a race weekend because it's NASCAR? Or are they going to go to see let's do Chase Elliott, Landon Castle, and Ryan Blaney? I would say the
if
NASCAR weekend is going to be the bigger draw between those two. Now
I don't know.
NASCAR has 36 full-time drivers. The World of Outlaws had 13 last season. Okay, we're comparing apples to oranges in a sense.
I don't
But
know.
I
I would
I
say
certainly
that
see that side of the aisle on
if
World of
you
Outlaws.
if you take Chase Elliott out of a NASCAR race, I think you lose a lot of attendance. If he's racing somewhere else and Chase Elliott's not in that NASCAR race and he's running somewhere else, you'll lose a lot of attendance.
Okay, and you know what? I will say that's fair. I don't think any World of Outlaws. Donnie Schatz maybe. Does Odell Beckham earn? Does
Donnie Schatz and I would say Sheldon Haudenschild.
Does Odell Beckham own a Chase Elliott shirt? This is how we can figure out if his brand's that big.
That's a good point. Probably.
All
Knowing
right.
Odell. Knowing Odell, probably.
You and him met up a couple of times, right?
Yeah, he's a big fan of the Columbia College bowling team.
All right. So speaking of which, I didn't want to challenge Damon's thing there. It's the last thing we got to get to. Chase Elliott won most popular driver. I believe Noah Gragson and Haley Deegan took it home for Xfinity Truck Series. There's people ticked off about this. There's people asking me, will Chase Elliott ever lose a most popular driver award? And the thing they can't grasp, and it's because Chase Elliott, when he's on TV, is very, I don't want to say poised. That's just not the first word that comes to mind. He's very tight knit. He's very Matt Campbell. He's not going to coach speak you to death, but he's not going to tell you anything else either. He's just going to sit there and tell you almost what you want to hear, and he might come off a little bitchy sometimes. The last time he had a big thing, it was talked about in NASCAR for that whole month with Kevin Harvick, and then for the entire offseason, and then used as promotional stuff for the next race at the track, and all that. That's a typical cause and effect, right? That's always what's going to happen. I don't blame anyone for that. I'm not saying it was a negative thing, but I'm guessing Chase didn't want that to be his brand, stuff like that. So
what I think people forget, though, is his dad won the same award 18 times.
Yes, then that's what I was gonna get to.
And then
I've been rambling tonight. My bad. I took my medicine too close to this podcast, but
Dale Jr. won it, 13, 15 times, whatever it was. And to be quite honest with you, yes, Chase Elliott drove in the 24 car and was teammates with Dale Jr., but that's the closest thing that Dale Jr. fans have now is Chase Elliott. I mean, like, frankly, that is who all of his people went to when he retired, and that's where all of Bill's people went to when Chase became a NASCAR Cup Series driver. So you're not only taking one of the biggest names in the sport, you're taking literally two of the biggest fan bases ever to take over.
yeah, and that's a large product. I'm gonna build on because I was gonna say all the same stuff. You're taking those two big fan bases, and a large product of why you had them come together was because Dale Jr. went to race at Hendrick Motorsports. Because of what happened at DEI, Dale Jr. goes to Hendrick, and now they're cheering for Jr. and his Hendrick teammates. Okay. And all of a sudden, you have those groups cheering for Jr. or cheering for Jeff Gordon because of his relationship with Evernham, as well as the Bill Elliott fans. And you get that, and you get a lot of the Jeff Gordon fan base, because Chase Elliott was Jeff Gordon's replacement, is now latched on to Chase Elliott. You have all these groups that have came together under one driver. And that's why you see a lot of the, oh, hey, this Chase Elliott fan on Twitter was mean to me. Well, I mean, you're pulling from the three of the biggest fan bases in NASCAR history. You're bound to get some stupid people tweeting at you, tweeting dumb things at you, right? But no, I think that's why Chase is winning. I would say those fans are going to be looking at stuff outside the track. They're going to be watching him run sprint car races, dirt races, Chili Bowl. I don't think he's running Chili Bowl this year. I would doubt it. Educated guesses. But that's all of that is tied into it. And the chase that isn't racing in NASCAR that weekend, much more entertaining to listen to. I'm not sure if he's going to ever take that into account for his brand, but he's just a close-knit guy now. Will it work for him? Will it not? Not for me to say or guess. I don't think it changes how he races or anything like that, but he could have said a lot of stuff about Ross Chastain after the season finale for NASCAR this year. He didn't do anything like that. He's just a different cat than he was a couple years ago, which is crazy to think about, but
God knows I would have said something.
we got our Ross Chastain mention in for the show as well. So that's the last thing. The other thing, I know I've told the listeners to pay attention to a bunch of stuff. We're going to be doing our version of the end of the year awards in a couple weeks. They're going to be called the Dickies. If you guys want any type of category or anything, what is one we're doing, Damon? Save of the year, I think. We've came up with a couple different lists. They aren't going to be the traditional types of things. I just wanted to throw out an example. But it's going to be some unconventional stuff. We're going to work a couple weeks on it. It'll be largely while I'm on the couch watching bowl games all winter. But if you guys want us to look at 4 cases of anything or make an award to bash on one guy, let us know. Can already tell you who the leader in the clubhouse is for loser of the year.
100%.
You can guess.
He might drive the one car.
We're going to be giving awards away.
Hey, there's multiple people that drive the one car.
We could technically, we could have people bet on it.
We could.
Who do you think's going to win this award? And then we'll just rig it so the house wins.
I like that. As long as people are giving me money, I don't care.
There might be a legality thing to that. We probably won't do that extent of it.
Legal gambling ring? Nah.
But stay tuned for that. It's cash only, by the way. But stay tuned for that. If you see the Dickie Awards or the Dickies, I don't know what the branding is going to be on it. I want to get a trademark on it or something stupid. But we're going to be doing that in a couple weeks. So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Damon, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing
all right. Well, sorry again, guys, for going on hiatus. I don't think you will not understand how much of a baby and how much I complain when I'm sick, and I already complain a lot. So at the start of that whole stretch was not a very good time to be me or listen to me. But we don't plan on having hiatuses like that. We appreciate y'all listening tonight, and as well as all the people that sent us the Spotify rap stuff. I got a few from those people. Shout out to them. And thanks a ton, guys. Tell your friends about us. Let us know what you want to hear more of, stuff like that. Anytime, we're always all ears. I will always remind you that you guys are more important than you could ever understand to what we're doing at Always Race Day and what we want to do in 2023. So appreciate y'all. Thank you, Damon. Kill it in Vegas. We'll talk to you before Las Vegas. Damon is taking his bowling team to Las Vegas and pretends that it's not a vacation. He scheduled 2 tournaments back to back.
Well, that's how they fall. But it's not a vacation. We gotta go get some sort of points.
All right. Well, thank you guys again. And we will see you later this week. We're gonna do it post some of the stuff coming out from PRI. And I know I've got to talk to Damon about when he's available. Damon, when are you available? Inside Baseball. Thursday and Friday.
This week, Thursday and Friday?
Yeah.
Not Friday.
Okay. So Thursday afternoon before I go to the Cyhawk men's game. Is that a good time?
I'll have to get back with you on that, but I think so.
Sometime Thursday afternoon.
I don't have my calendar, so I really don't know. My calendar's in my office.
Okay. We'll figure it out for you guys. And if not, you can maybe hear from me and Jared Stansberry, and we'll talk racing. That
should be entertaining.
That'd be really funny to get him on because he would challenge everything.
I think, you should get him on anyway, whether I'm on or not.
We'll do that someday, but I need to find something that he has somewhat of and I know he watches some NASCAR, but I need to find something to get him riled up on.
Perfect. If he hates Ross Chastain, he can join.
And I don't know if he does. I've tried to get him to.
This is a hate Ross Chastain only podcast.
Chris, you can tell something to, and he'll just go against you. Like I told him about how we don't like Chastain. We're Drake Bulldog's house. Tulane isn't for real. That was a past year take, by the way. Don't hammer me on that this year. But he always goes against me. He's becoming a rival.
Well, not gonna lie, it's pretty easy to become a rival of yours. You just have to have mistakes.
I just say so many things that you can easily point it the opposite way. So
many dumb things. Let's rephrase that.
Oh, okay. You cut off, so I didn't hear the word dumb. But
yeah, so many dumb things.
Well, yeah, duh. It's the whole brand, man.
Yeah, you're creating the wrong brand.
You gotta do a lot of dumb things in your life to figure out how to be smart. All I'm saying.
Yes and no.
All right. I almost brought up
differ.
Elon Musk came to my head as a joke, and we're done. That's it. That's got to be the end. Would have been bad.
That'll be the end of the night, folks.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.